Hello, hope everyone is doing all right. I am absolutely, what's the word? Incredibly happy because my niece was just born just about an hour ago. So I'm a little bit emotional. Anyhow, so I just want to say welcome to the world, Isabella. So what we're going to do today is that I'm going to do a mini life drawing session. So the idea for this video is that you guys are going to be following instructions. I've been thinking a lot about how it's so difficult through videos because I don't have interaction with you guys, and I thought maybe if we do something that is quite timed and you can follow it, it would be a really kind of way of making it a little bit more interactive. Okay, so what you're gonna need is any kind of drawing material that you want to use: paper, pencil, charcoal, colored materials, anything that you want. You're gonna need a mirror or somebody that wants to pose for you, and a timer. Okay, ideally you would have some music as well because drawing with music is a lot more fun. So the first thing that we're going to do is what we call in life drawing warm-ups. Warming up exercises are very useful before you do observational drawing because they help you relax into drawing, and also they help the connection between the eyes and the brain and the hand. So normally what happens is that you're looking at something, the information goes to your brain, and your brain tells your hand how to move. The problem is that when you look at something and that information goes to your brain thinks that it knows what to do. And then it sends out the wrong information for your hand, if that makes sense. So by doing warming up exercises, we are training the brain to actually tell the hand to draw what your eyes are seeing rather than what the brain thinks. Okay, so the first warm-up that we're going to be doing is going to be a 1 minute drawing. I might do mine a little bit quicker just because of the purpose of the video, but the first one, if you can set up your timer for 1 minute, and you're going to be drawing whoever you're drawing, if it's yourself through a mirror or if it's a person. And the trick with this one is that you're not going to look at the paper, you're only looking at the person that you're drawing, and it is called blind drawing. So I'm gonna set my timer for 1 minute and I'm gonna start, okay? And I'm using myself as a model. So I obviously cannot see what on earth is going on. It's very important that you don't cheat. So obviously the drawing that you're going to do is going to be an absolute disaster. And that's okay, because we're just trying to focus on drawing what we're seeing. Yeah. And I've got my ears, and I've got my neck, and we're gonna add some curls. Okay, and I'm gonna stop it right there. And then I'm gonna look at my drawing in absolute horror. Oh my god, what have I drawn without looking? It's actually quite fun. For the second drawing, so I've done that one in about 40 seconds, but you guys are gonna take a full minute. For the second one, I am gonna do it with the wrong hand. That means a hand that I don't usually use for drawing. So instead of using my right hand, because I'm right-handed, I'm gonna use my left. This time, you can look at the paper, okay? So you're looking at the paper and you're looking at the person that you're drawing, but you're using the wrong hand. I'm gonna set my timer to 1 minute. And this drawing is actually really good fun with the wrong hand because the line that comes out tends to be quite interesting. And what I'm noticing already is that I think I can draw better without seeing than with my wrong hand, which is quite interesting. So for some people, they can draw really well with the wrong hand. And for other people like me, it's actually quite hard. But at the same time, it's quite liberating. Okay, so don't forget the ears. Oh, and you guys can see the camera as well. You can see my cameraman. Okay. And I'm gonna call it a day there for wrong hand. Okay. And whoops, That took a minute. So for the last warm up, we're gonna do both hands, and that means that you're drawing simultaneously with both hands at the same time. Yeah. So hold on, I left my phone. So 1 minute, both hands. You can look at the paper. So I've got both my hands. I've got a piece of charcoal with both my hands. Oh. So these warm-up exercises are really, really good fun. And I advise for anybody who likes drawing, it's a really good way to get started, and doing this before you do any kind of drawing is really useful. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it there. So this is my result from my warm-up. So your warm-up should look something as disastrous as this, yeah? So this one was a blind drawing, this one was the wrong hand, and this one over here is both hands at the same time. Oops, and that's a minute. So, stop. So from now on, what you should be doing is that you should start doing a drawing for 5 minutes, another one for 10, and another one for 15, and you can increment the time. It's important that you start with very, very short drawings and increment the time gradually. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna give you some quick guidance on your starting point, but I'm not really gonna be looking for so much resemblance or anything. I just wanna give you a bit of guidance on how to get started when you're drawing from life, yeah? So I'm gonna put my timer on to a maximum of 7 minutes. And we're on. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna get started with an egg shape, yeah? So I've got a bit of an egg shape, and I'm gonna do some neck, yeah? And then afterwards, I'm gonna find my hairline, and from the hairline, I'm gonna divide this space from the hairline downwards into 3 equal spaces. I'm then gonna measure and make sure it's okay just with my finger, and I can see that the middle one is a bit too big. So I'm gonna adjust that. From here, I'm gonna put a line where the nose is, yeah? At the top line is going to be the eyebrows, and here on the middle line is going to be the tip of the nose. That's going to be the top of the ears, bottom of the ears, and bang in between of these is going to be the lips. I'm not going to do any features or anything right now. Instead, what I'm going to do, because I'm working with charcoal, is that I'm going to start looking at shapes. Yeah, I'm going to put a shadow under the eyes. I'm going to get rid of my guidelines actually, quickly, because I know where things are now, the proportion. So I'm gonna put a little bit of shadow in the eyes because the eyes are a little bit in shadow in the face. I'm gonna put a little bit of shadow around the nose. I'm gonna put a little bit of shadow underneath here, over here on the cheekbones, and big shadow under the chin. Yeah, so right now I've got a nice big mess. I find it really good to start with a mess because then I'm not that worried about my drawing being pretty. And if you can get rid of the idea of your drawing being pretty, half of the battle is won. I'm not going to do any detail for now. I'm just going to give a little bit of guidance into there. And then I'm going to start doing any more kind of tone that I need to put in that I perhaps have missed. I'm not committing to anything. I'm gonna put a shadow in the lips. And now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna bring my blending stick and I'm gonna do a little bit of blending on all of those areas that I've just put some tone on. Yeah. So far, this is what I've got, an utter mess. From here, I'm gonna start drawing some eyebrows. Again, I'm keeping it very, very loose because when you're doing life drawing, you have to move very, very fast. And I really, really recommend, I always recommend to all of my students to work in charcoal, because charcoal is very forgiving, and whatever mistake you make, you can incorporate it into the drawing and make it look quite interesting. As whereas if you're making it in pencil, if you make a mistake, you kind of have to start rubbing out, and that's a bit of a pain, yeah? So by now I'm putting in the eyes as well, but I'm just trying not to put any detail as for now. Whenever you're doing live drawing, you always leave detail for last. If you start engaging in detail too early onto the drawing, what happens is that you will engage in that drawing and you will be captured by it, and then you will run out of time, yeah? So far, that's what I've got. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put a little bit more tone all in between. I'm going to quickly reinforce my dark areas before I move on. I'm going to chop a bit of charcoal into teeny, so I can get into little bits. And I'm using my charcoal sideways, yeah? So notice how I'm actually making things a lot darker than what they actually are, yeah? Can you notice that? And I'm going to show you in a minute why I'm doing that. So I'm also going to do some darkers in the hair. Gosh, I haven't done a self-portrait in quite a long time. But drawing yourself is actually a good one because you know your face pretty well. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring on a putty rubber. Looks a bit like plasticine. If you haven't got a putty rubber, you can use a normal rubber. And I'm going to start erasing all the areas where I got light, yeah? So all the areas of light, I am erasing. My putty rubber is actually very, very dirty. I might try it with a normal rubber. So with a rubber, you can get a lot of gesture, and I really love the mark making that you can actually get with rubbers. It's really, really cool. I haven't got any of my little tiny rubbers that I love. I've left them at the farm at the moment. But I'm just starting to erase some bits and bobs. I'm also going to be adding on some lights onto the hair. Yeah. So see, with the rubber and the charcoal itself, you can get quite a lot of really nice nice gesture, yeah, nice expression. So now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna check on the time, see how much time I've got. Oh, I've got 43 seconds. So now it's time for detail. Usually I leave the last minute or the last 2 minutes for detail, not more than that. Because when you try and embellish things, you always mess up your drawing. So it's better if you just have a tiny bit of time. Oh, and my time is up. So this drawing is stopping here. Okay. So what you're gonna do, you can do for your first drawing for 7 minutes. If you want, you can do your first drawing for 5 minutes. Whatever you do, keep it under 10 minutes for the first one. When the clock is over, you finish your drawing. And then you're gonna do a second one. So with your second one, what I really suggest that you do is that you take a hard look at the drawing and you try to note 2 things that worked really well and 2 things that you think need improvement. So it's not about being harsh on yourself. Be kind to yourself. So in my drawing, I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say, okay, what I like is that I've managed to do it in proportion. And what I also like is that mark making is very gestural. Yeah. The things that I think need improvement is that, as per usual, I forget to do the ears. So I need to pay more attention to doing the ears. And the other thing that I think I needed is that I needed to have my tools ready, to have a putty rubber that was clean, so that I could have done a little bit more detailed rubbing, and that is something that I kind of failed to do. Okay. So in your case, you just assess whatever it is, because it's really good to be kind of like conscious and say out loud what you think went right and what you think went wrong. And then on the following drawing that you do, you're going to be focusing on those two things that you know that need improvement, and on the things that worked really well, you're going to be resting assured that that area, at least you've got it under control. Okay, so I suggest doing, if you can, doing at least 4 or 5 drawings, and the longer time you have, make sure that you're carrying on working at really, really quick speed, because what normally happens with students is that they work really well in their short spaces of time, and then when you start incrementing the time for the drawing, they start getting lazy and saying, oh, I got loads of time, and then they don't finish them. So it's just always aim to finish your drawing in the time that you set yourself in at the beginning of the drawing. Okay, so that was my mini life drawing lesson, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and all the best to you all. Take good care. Bye bye.